Did you know that since the September international break, that Villa have got more points than anyone in the Premier League?
Incredible.
They're better than when you played for them, Micah.
Can we put that to the side, please? The Villa fans have just about come round.
Hello and welcome to The Rest is Football with Alan Shearer and Micah Richards and me, Gary Lineker. We hope you enjoyed our tribute episode to Terry Venables. He really was an incredible person, and it was lovely to be able to go through and remember some of those special moments that both Alan and myself in particular had with him. That means our regular episode, reviewing the big stories from the weekend's football, is a little later in the week than usual, but hopefully you understand why. And, well, here we go. And I suppose, really, there's only one place to start. That goal from Alejandro. Garnacho. Let me do that again. That goal from Alejandro Garnacho. Wow.
Well, you're not going to start with a defender, are you? Go on, you two go first.
No, I am going to start with a defender, Micah, because you were very close to someone that did something similar.
Gary!
Wayne Rooney.
It's been so long.
I know.
I work for Sky now, and basically they was running the advert with Rooney's unbelievable strike for years. I'm hoping now that Garnacho has scored this, that they can change the advert. I'm hoping. I'm starting a petition, to be honest.
Well, I think that might have usurped it. I think it was marginally better. But I must say, you said you work for Sky now, but you work for everyone. But wow, it was so special, wasn't it? I mean, the ball was he was kind of backing up, going away from goal as well.
Can I just talk a little bit about Rooney's first, though? Yes. So when the ball comes in, and I know I had a bit of fun with it, and I say it was Kompany's man and whatnot, Kompany slipped a little bit. So I'm in two minds. Do I just throw myself at it? But as a defender, when you throw yourself at it, you're scared of them just having a little touch over you and then having time to just finish it off. And then I seen Rooney in a position, I was like, okay, I'm going now. But I seen him it was all happened in slow motion. He's lifting his legs up, and I'm saying in my head, there's no chance he's scoring that. There's no chance. He wasn't just And the only thing I will say with the Rooney one, because I was closest to it, it did look like it come a little bit off his shin. A little bit. And that's me being really, really picky. Whereas the Garnacho one, it looked like it was all technique off his foot. So I'm going Garnacho's just better.
I must admit, we were in the Match of the Day office on Saturday, and when Michael Olise scored that goal, and I went, my goodness me. I mean, it really was very special. He got it in the halfway line, incredible turn, went down the touchline, cut in, went past the thing, cut in again. And then from the corner of the box, he bent it beautifully in the top corner. I was going, well, that's it. Goal of the season. It's done. It's all over. No one's going to beat that. 24 hours later, that was it. I must say, the November goal of the month is going to be a bit special.
I mean, I didn't agree with you yesterday, although I didn't agree with you on Saturday about the Elise goal. It was a brilliant goal, but I always thought there'd be one better than that. And I think it's over, isn't it? Competition over. That there's no better in that goal, Garnacho. I think it was better than Rooney's. I just think
me too.
It was. Can you just try and imagine, for the people that have never played football, try and imagine you've probably got, a second and a half or 2 seconds maximum from the time that ball leaves the touchline or the crosser's foot to then making contact. So you've got to get up, you've got to flip. He was walking backwards away from goal. I mean, all of those, honestly, it was, I don't know, it was out of this world. And as you know, I don't swear very often, so I have to swear at this goal. It was out of this world. It was just. I mean, I wouldn't even have tried that thing.
Well, that was the point, really, isn't it? I mean, you wouldn't. I mean, you were saying that for people that don't really play the game or anything, but even for people that play the game, that play the game right at the top, that was something extraordinarily special. And is it? I mean, there's been some great overhead kicks in the time. Gareth Bale, Champions League final. Ronaldo's, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo's extraordinary one in a big game. And then. Is there a better one than that?
You won't remember this, Micah. I'm going to test you now, Gaz. You might remember Danny Wallace, Southampton against Liverpool before the Premier League. Can you remember that?
Yes. I can. What about Trevor Sinclair? Yes. Trevor Sinclair's was more of a side, wasn't it? Rather than spin. It was that was outside the box as well.
Wow.
I mean, it is special when you get an overhead. I remember playing in Japan and I did a few commercials, and every time I did a commercial, they wanted to do. They went, "Can you do a bicycle kick?" I went, "What?" I said, "It's not really my game. It's not really my game." But anyway, every single commercial they wanted a bicycle kick. And,
he thought he was getting a 4-course meal. That's what he thought, a bicycle kick.
Oh dear. I did see a thing at the end of the game, or no, it was actually at half time. I think they did it, and they were talking about the XG, and Kelly Dalglish. It's not her fault; it's XG's fault. And she read it out, and she said that was a 0.8 XG, which means that he would score that 8 times out of 100. And I'm thinking, 8 times out of 100? You do that once in a million.
If you're lucky.
I mean, I must say that XG thing. I don't know who decides what the XG is and how, and I suppose it's all on algorithms and all this. I've no idea how it actually works, but it just shows you what a nonsense it is.
If you don't believe in the XG, like one or two of us don't, then that's the perfect opportunity to say what a pile of shit that was. 8 out of 100. Really? Come on. Oh.
But I want to take you guys to many moons ago. And yeah, you can Google it. It's on YouTube. Go in there and type Micah Richards overhead kick. It wasn't in a game, admittedly.
It wasn't in a game?
What was it in then if it wasn't in a game and it's on YouTube and you're back on?
It was in training. Oh my gosh. So I'm just saying, I've been there. It might have not been on the pitch, but I've been there. I know what it feels like.
Hey, I scored like 25 of them in training as well, but unfortunately no one recorded them.
I think in training, if I'm really honest, I think I tried about probably 100 bicycle kicks, and I think I scored about 8 of them.
Hey, I scored one for England.
Did you?
Yeah, I scored one for England at the Stadium of Light, and I think it was England, might have been England, Belgium. Yeah, it was very similar to Garnacho's one. Have a look at it, get it out, guys.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah. I think if it had been, we'd have seen it many times.
And it was a little bit lower than that, and I got up and I thought, oh my God, I'm in agony. I can't believe I've even tried that. And it wasn't even half as bad as the one was today. It was a ridiculous effort, but I might claim it. Yeah,
I did it like a scissor kick kind of thing in Poland. Qualify for the Euros in '92. We were 1-0 down. We needed, and I came to the country's rescue.
Again.
The country's rescue.
There you go. But it was actually the Everton the United game. I mean, it was quite odd, wasn't it? Because Everton had way more shots and way more chances to score, but you've got to take. It just shows you you've got to take your chances. I mean, God.
That's exactly what Manchester United needed, because they knew they were going into a hot pot, at the weekend with Everton and everything that's happened, and they knew exactly what Goodison Park was going to be like, and that was the perfect response to go in there, score early, try and quieten the crowd, and Man United did a job on them. I thought it was much better from Man United. You know, I said last week, didn't I, that I didn't have a clue whether they were going to finish 4th or 8th, something like that. But with performances like that against Everton, then they won't be far away from 4th.
It could easily have gone wrong for them, though, couldn't it? Because, you know, Everton did miss. I mean, and Arna played well. And Mainoo's debut.
Brilliant money.
He was
the best player. He was the best player from Man United, I thought.
And
yeah, I think he probably was.
Yeah, he was. He really was excellent. And there was talking about him for a while now in terms of when's he going to get his chance. And then he got his injury, played in pre-season. So it's good to see, because Man United have always been known for bringing through top young talent. And because of the situation where they're trying to get back to the top, it's always been difficult for the youth to get a chance. To see him come in and play like that, but play with authority, whether it was clearing one off the line, whether it was driving forward, whether it is getting the ball. This is what I love the most about young players. Getting on the ball in difficult positions and not like shying away from the ball. That's what I loved the most about his game today. And it was really was an excellent game for him today.
Yeah. The other, whilst we're on the Sunday matches, Aston Villa into the top 4.
Yeah.
I mean, what we've said before, what a job he's doing. It was probably a decent time to play Tottenham, obviously, with the back 4 all over the place and Maddison missing as well. And Tottenham were pretty good in the first half. But they came back and they've got goals in them, haven't they?
Yeah, they're a threat. They're a threat. They've got pace. Mm-hmm. They've definitely got ability. And we've said it, haven't we? He's doing a fantastic job. Maybe, I know, rode their luck a little bit in the first half with Tottenham missing so many chances. But, they were impressive. And they're not going away because of him. He knows, he's been around the block. He's very clever, very astute, and he'll keep them up there, I think.
Yeah. Did you know that since the September international break, that Villa have got more points than anyone in the Premier League? And that's bloody impressive.
Wow. Incredible.
They're better than when you played for them, Micah.
Can we put that to the side, please? The Villa fans have just about come round. But yeah, it's so good to see. It is, honestly, it is so good to see. A lot of people, the way I left Villa, think I don't like Villa. I love Villa. I wish my time was better. To see him doing so well now, it's actually very good, because I really did enjoy the people there. There's so many people behind the scenes who work so hard. So for them, they really do deserve it. And I'm excited now. We've talked the other day about where can they finish? Can they slip into that number 5 position and get that Champions League? And on the evidence that we're seeing, you would say yes.
Yeah.
It's just whether you can keep it going for that amount of time, whether they've got the strength in depth, should they get 1 or 2 key injuries, I suppose. But I mean, they're not only getting points, but they play very, very aggressive, attacking, really enjoyable football, don't they?
They've got good players, Gary, and they've made good signings as well. It was a tough start, obviously, as we said, against Newcastle that first game, but they've came back after that and been magnificent. Yeah, been really good. Yeah,
we had an interesting match of the day on Saturday, because there were so many good games, and it was the running order that we came up with that in the end it was almost like what you'd have said at the beginning of the day. It was like upside down, because there were so many good games, and the two, obviously, I suppose, games that we were expecting to be very special. Obviously, Manchester City against Liverpool, and Arsenal playing at Brentford, because what we assumed was once Manchester City, dropped points, that Arsenal could go top, and which they did. But they were the games that weren't quite as attractive to watch as the games from the teams that probably featured sides near the bottom of the table. So it was, you had to wait to see the big games. But I think that, because normally, if this was in March, it wouldn't have mattered. You lead with Manchester City against Liverpool, then you show Arsenal to see if they could go top. But I think in November, it was decided in the office that, there was some really, really great games from other teams. And you don't always want to be just about, the top 4, the top 5 clubs. But let's talk about the Manchester City Liverpool game. Now, Micah, I know you were there. I saw you, and in fact, I saw you before the game, and you were talking to the Liverpool goalkeeper, Alisson. And you were considering he's not even a Man City player, you were kind of a bit crawly and all that. Oh, you're so good. And at one point you said, you asked him a question, which was a reasonable question. You said that, and the thing about you're the best in the league at one-on-ones, and what's your secret? You're so great at it. And then obviously just, a few minutes into the game, Haaland goes through and knocks it straight past him. It goes through him. So whatever you did to curse him, it worked, Michael. And that's why he's the ambassador of Manchester City.
I bet you can't wait for his next interview with Micah Richards.
He's never speaking to him again.
We call that reverse psychology, that one. But he is so, isn't he? He is. I know.
He's brilliant. In fact, the two goalkeepers, they're both Brazilian, aren't they? And, Ederson and Alisson, I mean, they are. They're right up there in the top few goalkeepers in the world, aren't they?
I was watching one of the passages of play from Man City, and I was thinking 10 years ago, when you're trying to play out from the back, you would try and force it one way, and then if it's not on, you would go down the line. What Man City do, they go try to play out one way. If it's not on, use the keeper, go the other way. Then they go straight through the middle. And you're talking about goalkeepers, Ederson's composure on the ball, it's like nothing I've ever seen within the Premier League. It's just amazing to watch. And you know what's strange about the whole thing now? Normally when it goes back to the keeper, the crowd are like, kick it long or whatnot. When the ball goes back to Ederson now, and you can hear it at the game, the crowd's just really calm. Like, okay, he knows what he's doing. We know how we're playing. He's going to get us out of danger. And then you've got Alisson at the other end, who's not so good with his feet, but there was a save from Haaland. Did take a deflection off Van Dijk, and his position where he wants to be, the way he makes himself big, the way he waits before the striker sort of gets his head up, and then he attacks it to close down the space. I just thought, watching them two live, it was just really great to see, even though Alisson didn't have the best of his games on the ball.
On a slightly more serious note, on the I thought, which was a good question that you said to Alisson, he was talking about his technique on one-on-ones. And he was saying how he tries to force the striker into doing what he wants him to do. And also, obviously, they want the striker to be the first to react. And which reminds me, exactly the same thing really for the striker. Because what you want to do when you're one-on-one with a goalkeeper is you want them to make the first move, and that's the key. So it's very similar things, a different dynamic. I mean, I've never really thought too much about the goalkeeper's perspective, but it's the same in many ways.
Yeah, it's one of those who's gonna blink first, isn't it? Who's gonna move? Who's gonna move first? Who's gonna blink first? I'm gonna try and throw the little dummy in to set you the little trap, and he's doing and thinking exactly the same. So yeah, it's really interesting.
What about Erling Haaland? 50 goals in 48 Premier League appearances. He is a goal-scoring machine. We put up a graphic at the end of the Manchester City in terms of the top few, well, not necessarily the top few players, but the people that were working on Match of the Day last night, Messrs. Alan Shearer, Ian Wright and myself. And let's put it this way, we were nowhere near as quick as Haaland, but by the time he arrived, this was top flight football, because football did actually exist. It really did before 1993. So it was top flight football. And he was a lot quicker than any of us three. Although I was a lot quicker than Alan Shearer and Ian Wright. But
you used to play football, did you?
Said that, I kicked
Did
it around
you?
a little bit.
When was that? Next you'll be telling us you played for Barcelona or something.
Oh, yeah. And I kept you out of the England team for a while. Hey. And only because you were about 12 years old. But, I mean, what I know he's come here already as a proven goal scorer, which is obviously the difference from us that came through as young players. It's still, even though he's playing an unbelievably good team, it's phenomenal. I mean, he's a proper goal poacher, isn't he?
Outrageously good. Can you remember when 1 and 2 was judged as brilliant?
Yeah. The game's changed. The game's changed a bit.
Oh God, what a player! What a goal scorer! Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I just love the fact how he come with a lot of pressure, and now I see Haaland. I'm more surprised when he doesn't score. So, you know, like we had Ronaldo, he scored. Of course, he scored. Messi scored or whatever. You go to the French league, he said Mbappe scored. And then Haaland, to take that way when he trebled in his first season and continue the form as well. And a lot of people have said, well, you know, he's got Kevin De Bruyne, the best number 10 in the world. But Kevin De Bruyne has not been playing and he's still doing it. He's a ridiculous player, unbelievable talent, and long may it continue. I hope he stays here for 10 years, to be honest. I really do.
You, as a Manchester City ambassador, I'm sure you do. I don't think Alan does.
Only because he could be.
His record will be smashed.
He won't stay when they get relegated to the National League for all the points deductions and all of that. I'm joking, Man City fans. Don't come for me. I'm joking.
I decline to comment. You'll have to speak to my lawyer.
I think you're absolutely, totally out of order, Alan.
I'm only joking. Don't come for me. Just to try to wind Micah.
I think it'll probably take him. I think he'll beat the record by the time that comes around.
He will. He'll do it in the next 3 or 4 years, definitely.
Yeah, he's very special.
Can I just ask you two as strikers? So I was analysing Haaland's goal yesterday and I thought he was very clever. He sort of checked his shoulder and got in between two defenders. And then he must have took about a second and a half to control the ball and then finish. And a lot of people say Alisson maybe should have saved it. Are you thinking about, let me get the shot off as quick as possible, or in that scenario?
Yeah, in that scenario, probably yes, because you've got two defenders coming in quickly and you need to get the shot off as quickly as you can. It really depends on the circumstances. If you get in behind, I mean, a lot of my goals are one-on-ones with goalkeepers because I was quick and I spin defenders and get behind and one-on-one. I used to love it when keepers would run out. Like, so they'd come out, and then, you know, you think if they're moving towards you and you're moving towards them, it's quite easily to, you just knock it. I used to go round them quite a lot if they'd do that because, it's really difficult for them to stop that. And they tend to dive to try and get the ball and they'll either miss it completely and you run round them, or they'll end up bringing you down. So I used to do that. There's other times keepers that that will come out and maybe lay down early, so you might have that little dinky finish over them. But it's almost like it's a brief second in time when you kind of somehow the brain evaluates the situations of any given moment, and the best strikers, I suppose, are kind of work that out really quickly and carry it through. But every circumstance is a little bit different, really.
I thought what Haaland did, and yes, it's all right to say, well, Alisson should have saved it, maybe. But the reason that he couldn't get down to it, because Haaland didn't let him set himself, the goalkeeper. So Haaland takes the shot away early. Ollie Watkins did it at the weekend for Aston Villa. Trent did it in his shot for his goal at in that game also. Yep. There was a scenario when Darwin Núñez went through, and then he tried to take the extra touch, and then when you take the extra touch, it's too late. The defender's got there, and the keeper would have set himself anyway. So You're right. You read this. You read the situation you're in, and getting your shot away early before the keeper can set himself. It doesn't often make it more difficult for the goalkeeper.
And quickly before we move on, so in terms of you explained Núñez there, and that's what I was going to talk to you about. So when you two are in that situation, and it happens to all of you, you take a bad touch. Yeah. Is that then looking for a different club in your bag, as it were? Is the chip on, or is something? It's almost like he took a bad touch and then he panicked. If you know what I mean?
No idea, Micah.
I was waiting for that. I knew it. You just set him right up again, Micah.
He's horrible, isn't he? He's horrible.
No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, I've done plenty of bad touches in my career. I wasn't the most skillful player ever, but I always used to think it's mad how the brain computes things in a split second. So in those circumstances, yes, sometimes you recognise instantly that you need to hit it quick. And I used to do a hell of a lot of training finishing, particularly when I was younger. And we had a goalkeeper at Leicester who was an amazing character called Mark Wallington. He was Leicester goalkeeper for years. He was a brilliant keeper. He was really actually quite funny as well. I mean, for example, we'd play games and, you know, the ball goes behind the goal, and in those days you only had one match ball, and so you had to wait till it came back from the crowd. And say we were winning a game, it'd go behind it'd go, and someone would throw it back to him, and as the ball came, he'd pretend to catch it, and then, you know, when you bounce it off the bicep, and he'd bounce it straight back to the man pretending to go. And he used to do this other thing, and it used to crack me up. He used to put for a goal kick, right? So a goal kick, he'd put the ball on the edge of the 6-yard box, and then in our day, sometimes he'd put it in the middle, and he'd run back. And, you know, he'd lean on the net, and then he'd pretend to be stuck in it. But he was incredibly helpful to me in finishing. He used to say, in certain circumstances, if you hit it like really quick before the goalkeeper's set, or, you know, and make the keeper commit, and he was really helpful. He was a great personality and lots of
brilliant
fun.
So,
amazing.
Are we talking Newcastle before the break or after the break?
I need time to contemplate this. Let's have a breather. Welcome back to The Rest is Football with Alan Shearer, Micah Richards and myself, Gary Lineker. Alan's got a big smile on his face. I can see it. He's ready. We're about to talk. Toon. They're back out, back in form.
What a result it was for them with all the injuries they've got. Given the young boys from the academy,
they had a decent 11 though.
They had a decent 11,
albeit the young lad.
But still, I mean, I don't know how many injuries. 10 injuries they've got, I think. Which for any team will be tough to carry. So 3 academy boys got on towards the end. Another 17-year-old started. Was brilliant.
He was great.
What a day for him, Lewis Miley, playing in the midfield against the might of Chelsea and some of those big hitters in there that they've spent gazillions on. So for him and his family, what a day! But big win for Newcastle that was. Do you know what I thought though? I thought they overpowered them the second half, but how about when you look at Thiago Silva, who's been a great of the game, and I know we have all poor games, and I thought it was a bit sad to see because he made 2 huge errors, one for 1 goal, one that he gave a corner as well in the first half. And I don't know. I know how fit he is and everything else, and he hardly ever misses a game. But I felt tough for him yesterday.
Father time is. Yeah, I mean, it comes to us all in the end, but it is remarkable.
Unbelievable.
I mean, he's almost coming up to 40 years old, and to playing at the level that he has, it's a wonder. But you just hope, I think, sometimes with players of that magnitude that the decision comes eventually down to them rather than a decision that's forced on them. Well, I'm not saying that that time has come. But
it's
inevitable. Whoever you are,
it wasn't good to see with someone who's been so great over the years. But it was a great win for Newcastle, and onwards and upwards.
Yeah, Poch was quite. I've never seen Poch quite so cross. I think one of his quotes says, "I was very, 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 very." I think there were 5 verys before he said the word angry about the way we didn't compete and stuff like that. And and he wasn't a happy man after the game, and I understand why. They weren't at it really, were they, Chelsea?
No, they were poor. The Newcastle overpowered them down the hill in the second half towards the Gallagher end. They couldn't cope with the intensity. Made mistakes, weren't really at it. Reece James given the captaincy and then getting sent off stupidly. It was a really poor day for them, particularly as we all thought that they'd shown a bit of form, and is this the start of things to get a lot better for Chelsea? But 2 forward and 1 back for them.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, when you where else, Micah, do you hear the words? They were kicking downhill in the second half.
Explain to people what you mean, please, Alan, because I've played there, you've played there, but the younger audience might not know. You go to St. James's Park, wonderful people, wonderful stadium. You could be, in the first half, you're absolutely breezing the game. Oh, this is easy. What's everyone talking about? The second half, it comes at you like a slap in the face. It's ridiculous. It's like playing. You know what it's like? It's like going on a treadmill, but putting the gradient to about 10 and trying to run. You get cramp after about 75 minutes. Honest to God, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It is the hill.
Sort your pitch out, Alan, will you?
It is that hill from that end, the Leazes end, down to the Gallagher end. I think I'm right in saying it's about 6 or 7 foot, something like that in difference. But yeah, Micah, we've seen you over the years treading fucking water up that hill. Don't worry, we can remember it. You're like in quicksand.
That wasn't because of the hill.
You're in quicksand trying to get back.
Do you know what? I played at St James's Park many times, and I actually had quite a few good games there and a few goals, but I can't remember the slope. But when I went there a couple of times doing TV, I thought, blimey, there is an actual slope.
Yeah.
And
they always try and shoot. They always try and shoot down the hill second half.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. I think obviously we've got to mention Arsenal because they've got to the top of the league. They were at the top of the league at this time last season. They've not been banging in the goals quite like they did last season, but they have been very, very sound defensively. I think one of us actually tipped them for the title. But I think those words might come back to haunt me. But who knows? Yeah. Who knows? So they dug it out yesterday. It's a tough place to go and get points. Brentford. It's hard. They stuck at it, and you have to be pleased for Havertz, I think, because he's had a tough time since he came, not just to Arsenal but to England.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to start with Saliba first, since you mentioned defensively. I just think he's getting better and better. To think he wasn't in the plans a couple of years ago. Went on loan, went about his business, come back into the team, so assured on the ball, positioning is getting better, so strong, so fast, leads by example. He's just great. He's like a young Rio Ferdinand. That's what I would say. He's like a young Rio Ferdinand. He's got all the capabilities to be the very best in the world. Van Dijk had that for a while. Ruben Diaz as well, over the last couple of seasons, has been magnificent. And then Saliba is the one who could really challenge for that number 1 spot if he continues to improve, do the right things, and obviously playing a competitive team, which Arsenal are. I think he's going right to the very top.
That was a massive result for Arsenal. Didn't play particularly well. Obviously, the goalkeeping situation, Ramsdale, could have gone horribly wrong early in the game for him. He got away with one mistake, but keeping a clean sheet. Havertz coming on as a sub hasn't worked for him at all at Arsenal yet, and getting the winning goal. So overall, it was a great weekend for Arsenal.
Yeah, it was quite interesting at the end. I don't know whether you saw it, Micah, but after the final.
Yeah, I saw it. Ian Wright, friends. Let's all video Ian Wright. Let's all take pictures. What about Big Meeks?
Oh. Well, you weren't there. I wasn't going to talk about that. Wasn't the point that I was going to make, actually. But at the end, I mean, yeah, right. He was kissing the television as everything. It was quite amusing. It's all right, Mike. You don't need to worry. You don't need to worry. You're playing well at the moment. There's no danger to your position. But it was quite interesting at the end of the game that Arteta went up, and obviously he was so pleased for Havertz, and I totally understand that. But he almost dragged him to the Arsenal fans with his arm around his neck and pulled him along. And you could see Havertz I think he was thinking, this is a bit embarrassing. And he was taking him to the fans to get the round of applause. And I thought it was slightly patronising, he deserved his round of applause from the Arsenal travelling fans. Well done.
What about Luton as well? By the way, Luton's first win at Kenilworth Road in the Premier League.
I know.
Big for them as well, especially what's happened to Everton. So that was a huge win for them, wasn't it?
How did they play? Obviously, I missed that game because I was working. Yeah. I watched you on Match of the Day on Saturday night. But yeah, how were they? I seen they got enough.
Palace had their chances, but Luton are gritty. Yeah. They have a go. Micah, I'm going to give you a little bit of credit here, because you've said it a number of times and you've done your analysis and about how good they are at set pieces. And once again, another goal from a set piece.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you.
They also get a lot of crosses in. I think more than any other side. We had
successful crosses, Gary. Apparently, whatever.
Oh right, okay, that's another one. Right, XG. Is a successful cross when it ends up in the back of the net, or is it?
Tell me.
What? How does that work? Successful crosses. Well, I think it said they'd had 40 successful crosses, and they've certainly not scored 40 goals. So it's weird. This thing. Do you think this is like it's like an Americanization of our sport? The fact that people need stats.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it goes a different way.
Because they're obsessed with stats in America.
No, it is. It's gone that way. Yeah, I think Wrighty also said it, didn't he, on Saturday night, Gary, that. Apart from the first two games and the Aston Villa game, I think, other than that, they've been in every game. They've lost by the odd goal, and they've been in every game. So I think whoever, particularly if you're going there, you know that you're gonna be in for a rough ride.
Yeah. Rob Edwards is galvanised the team. He's got them going, hasn't he? He's got You look at them man for man, compared with a lot of teams, and you think, "Cool, it's going to be difficult for them." But they've got a presence, and they're doing all right. They're doing all right. Not too bad at all. Tough day for Burnley again, wasn't it? You just thought, right, they've got a goal ahead. They've got a penalty, which was a little bit of a dubious penalty, but I think they certainly should have had one earlier in the game. Do two wrongs, make a right, maybe. They once they got ahead, you thought, right, this is it. Maybe they're going to, and then they kind of, I don't know, it just didn't happen for them. They're struggling.
I'm nervous. I was the one who said I fancy him to get out of the rut that they're in. Hey? What did I say, Ted? In Sir Vincent Kompany, I trust, especially as a captain. But I'm starting to agree with Alan, and Alan's right about a lot of things. I'll give him his credit, but I just believed that at some time it would click in some game, in some moment, it would all come together, and it's still naive. If you don't keep clean sheets, you're not going to win any games, are you? You literally, it's almost like even when they do score, you're like thinking, when are they going to concede? And if they don't shore it up at the back, then Yeah, I'm starting to feel the worst, but I'm not giving up hope yet. Until after Christmas, I'm not giving up hope on Burnley.
No, quite rightly so. Do you think, though, is it a case really of, have they got the players? Have they got what it needs to stay up? Or is it a question of the tactics, which is what you've kind of intimated?
There's a few things for me, guys. There's a fine balance, isn't there? I mean, you said it yourself. We mentioned Luton. Palace missed 2 absolute sitters in the last couple of minutes, didn't they?
Yep.
When that all could have been very different for Luton. They didn't, and all of a sudden it's like great for Luton and their good confidence and everything else. But that doesn't happen to Burnley. But I have to say, I'm actually starting to feel a bit sorry for the goalkeeper, James Trafford.
I would concur with that. He looks,
It looks.
You just worry that it might damage him because he's very young, isn't he?
It's a big ask for him to keep every single week. I mean, I think there's no doubt about it. He's a very good goalkeeper, but at this level, it looks as if the presence, certainly when crosses are coming into the box, he's struggling, and I think it may have affected him. And I do feel a bit sorry for him at the minute.
We talked about Luton doing well and finding a little bit of form, but also Bournemouth under Iraola. They look like they're starting to understand his style of play is settling in, and what's that, 3 wins in the last 4 Premier League games, and they're scoring a few goals, Micah.
Yeah, and who's really impressed me? That Semenyo. I was watching the highlights of the game as soon as I got back from work, and every time I see him, he's very direct. He plays the pass at the right time. Obviously, it's down to the manager, because when we said, and we analysed him at the start of the season, we could see what they was trying to do. Didn't quite work, but like you said, Gary, it seems now that the players have bought in to what he's trying to do, and then it's down to the players to implement that. And now it looks like they have. We mentioned before on one of the previous podcasts, Solanke's so pivotal for what they need with his runs and his holding it up. But now it looks like they're moving together as a team. We're not just relying on one person. We're starting to see rotations. We're starting to see patterns. But most importantly, we're starting to see him put the ball in the back of the net, which helps.
Indeed. I want to talk about Brighton. They had the first win for quite a long time, and the reaction at the end of the game where De Zerbi charged onto the pitch. Steve Cooper had the hump a bit, I think, because he didn't shake his hand. I think he was caught up in the emotion of things, and De Zerbi. But some people are quite critical of that, aren't they? Nowadays, I mean, it's become a thing, isn't it? Massively celebrating a victory at the end of the game. But I quite like that. I don't like the celebration police or whatever they call them. People that you shouldn't be doing that. You've only won 3 points. You're not like you won the league. But, clubs like, Brighton or Forest or Luton or, Burnley or whoever it is down there, well, they're not going to win a league, are they? So, enjoy your successes. What's wrong with that? I mean, he went absolutely bonkers, didn't he? He ran around like a headless chicken for about 5 minutes.
I just think he thought because of all the injuries and the sending off and everything else, he thought a bit hard done by, and it was such a huge relief for him and the football club. And I mean, it was a bit over the top, but I don't mind that. It's a bit of passion. It's a bit of, I quite enjoyed him, to be honest. I like him. I like his personality.
I love him. I love him. He's class, isn't he?
I like passion.
Yes, we like that. Of course we do. You should always shake the manager's hand first, though. I agree with that. But after that, do what you want. There's emotions in the game. That's what people need to understand. And it's for people like us, pundits, presenters, giving Brighton so much credit, how they play and getting into Europe. And then when you're not playing at the level that you want to be, you do get frustrated. And he's mentioned that right across the season. So when you get a good win, of course, celebrate how you want.
Yeah, absolutely. We always like to keep our eye on things across Europe as well. And I think we've mentioned him before, but Xabi Alonso, have you seen his record this season at Bayer Leverkusen. They're top of the league, ahead of Bayern Munich, who also won 1-0. Another goal for Harry Kane, of course, on Friday night. But Xabi Alonso's his team scored over 50 goals, I think. 16 wins and a draw. I mean, he's obviously got something. It's funny, I was thinking about a lot of the top coaches are kind of holding midfield players, aren't they? You know, you've got Guardiola and Alonso, Arteta, Xavi. Not that he was that holding, but yeah. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Do you think perhaps none of us are holding midfield
We've got
players?
no chance on us.
That's why we've gone into telly. That's why we went into telly, because we haven't got a clue.
Also, why do you think we've got in podcast?
Right, let's finish. I suppose moment of the week, it's got to be Garnacho, hasn't it?
It's got to be, of course it is.
Moment of the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get any better. That's, you know, that only happens 8 times out of every 100 goes. So.
Oh yeah, has to be incredible.
Right, that's it from us for this week. So goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Thanks.